Hey, everybody. Hope you guys are all doing well today. My name is Craig Anderson. I'm the president and founder of ClearPath Coaching and Consulting. So, why ClearPath? My story is I spent about 25 years in corporate America working for Fortune 100 companies, large not for profits, helping them lead national sales teams, national divisions. And I always felt as I was growing in my career that I kind of had one arm tied behind my back. I was working in these big financial services companies. I got a D in accounting in college. I got a D in marketing in college. It was not, business was not my core strength. I have a bachelor's degree in English. So I'm rolling in and coming into these corporate jobs and these corporate things, sitting around tables with people with MBAs from very prestigious schools and me. So I dealt a lot with imposter syndrome. I dealt with a lot of insecurities. I went through that. But what I also did was I realized that for me to grow in my career, for me to achieve more in my career, I had to really start paying attention to what was going on around me. So I really put focus on why these companies were successful, why they could have repeat success, maintain success over time. And what it really comes down to is a few essential things. One, relentless attention to detail, really focusing in on the numbers that matter that drive the business and not worrying about the ones that don't, focusing in on those things that do. Having solid people strategies around how you hire, how you fire, how you grow people, how you grow leaders, how you treat your people, things like employee engagement and culture, things that matter. Planning. How do you plan for the future? What planning processes do you have? So, and how much time are you spending planning for the future? How are you thinking about where things might go? How are you thinking if I'm going to have to take the left path or the right path as things go forward? And then processes, solid, repeatable processes that give people the framework for moving their business forward. So I had an opportunity after a long career on that side of the house to start a small business. I spun a division out of a company and turned it into a standalone business and not an affiliate company, and really said, all right, now how do I take these lessons? How do I take all these things that work for Fortune 100 companies and translate them and scale them to the small business environment? And so I used some of my creativity, some of the critical thinking I got with that English degree I had so many years ago, and started putting that on the table to figure out, okay, what are the tools I can do that can substitute for me instead of having a room full of people who can crunch numbers for me and track data, do all those things? How, big HR department. How do I start scaling that? And I found a lot of different tools that allow me to plan for the future with my one-page business plan that I teach today that I taught about last week with the core values index, where we really start to assess people and get the right people on the right seats on the bus and starting to document processes, starting to make sure that the people on the team don't understand because they think they do, but to make sure they do and build ways to communicate more effectively as a leader, to build processes to support people and bring people up into your organization and how to build the frameworks around the organization so it can be successful. So that's really how I got to the place where I am today. And here in the community, we provide you with a lot of training around those items. We really would like to join you to join our leadership academy where we can really help you build a plan, help you hold accountable, and help you to really grow your business forward. Today, what I want to talk about is something that is so crucial for you as leaders or owners of your business. And it's really about this idea of mindset. I talked a few weeks ago about the idea of uh, external and internal locus of control for where you feel life is going. And it really comes from some ideas from a great book around mindset. And that's what I want to talk today is about mindset. A lot of these ideas come from a book, Carol Dweck called Mindset. And what she did is she's really done a lot of research. She's a university professor. She's done a lot of research over the years to understand why some people are more successful than other people. And one of the things that she really found as a constant is this idea of mindset. And she says there's two kinds of real dominant mindsets that people have. One is a very fixed mindset. They believe that, they had their abilities are fixed. They can't really learn more, do more, be better. And then there's people who have a growth mindset. And those people with a growth mindset believe they are more likely to flourish. They are more likely to be able to learn new skills, learn new tasks, help them become better at what it is that they do. And what those people are able to do is they are more successful because they can envision themselves at that different level. So this starts to define things like, success and happiness. really driven so much by your mindset, because if you think you could do more, you will find ways to do more. But if you think you're in a box and you're limited in that box, it's about all that you're going to be able to do. And you hold yourself back artificially from what your real capabilities are. And I saw that a lot in my business. So, um, if you think, I think about this in my last business, it was a call center business. And, call center businesses, um, you know, you're not going to get rich sitting in a call center. And I had some folks in there that thought that's the job they could do. And that's the only job they could do. And they had a very fixed mindset. I loved working with them to say, let's talk more about this. We had some people who had really strong potential. We wanted to start talking to them about developing more of a growth mindset. And I would find that I'd post jobs that were upskilled, up level jobs for them, maybe on sales and an SDR role or something like that. And they wouldn't even think to apply. I'd say, why haven't you applied? They said, well, I never thought I could get that job or even do that job. So we had to start getting into thinking about, here's what you can do. Here are the things, we can provide you with training. We see this capability in you, and it's trying to work to help them develop that growth mindset. And so that's what we worked on with them. So it really defines how you cope with problems, how you cope with the roadblocks, how you cope with failure. Failure is, look, I think people fetishize failure and they think failure is like, oh, well, it's my badge of honor that I failed. No, frankly, I would rather succeed than fail. But mindset has to do with how you deal with failure. I struggle in this business. I don't always achieve what I want to achieve. I can shrug my shoulders and say, well, I guess I'm not cut out for this as a real growth business. Or I can say, what do I need to do differently? What did I learn from that experience that's going to help me be more successful forward? And that's all about mindset. So what I promised you guys today in the promotional materials is I'm going to give you seven. I have to really work seven um, ways that you can start to gradually change yourself if you are in that fixed mindset into a growth mindset. So let's talk through what some of those things are that can help you change your mindset. One is change your self-talk. What's self-talk? It's that inner dialogue that you have. And I always, my example of this is always when I was training for a marathon or a half marathon. I haven't tried the marathon, but I was training for a half marathon. And, during those long outdoor runs and you start getting tired and you can sit there and say, I can't make it. I'm going to make it. Oh my God, my foot hurts so much. I don't think I can make it. Or you can really say, hey, just another step, just keep moving forward. Every step forward is closer to the goal. Just keep going, one foot in front of the other. I can do this. I know I can do this. I can see where I'm trying to go. I'm just going to get to that place and then I'll set. That's kind of that inner self-talk of, God, you're weak. You can't do this. I can't do this. I don't have the capacity versus I'm going to do it. I'm going to take it stage by stage. I'm going to keep moving forward. I'm not going to give up. And so that's kind of that self-talk sometimes. And running a half marathon is one example, but it's, we tell ourselves stories. We tell ourselves, I'm not good enough to do this. Now it could be, I don't really know how you get there. Something you grew up with, something you were taught, but you tell yourself you're not good enough. And those thoughts, when you tell yourself you're not good enough, or you're not smart enough, or you don't have the capacity to do it, or you don't have the background like me with my English degree, well, how can I compete with these guys with MBAs from Harvard and MBAs from big prestigious business schools? Or I can say, how do I bring value? This is how I can bring value. And I know I'm a valuable addition to this team. So those thoughts start to create your reality. And the more positive your thoughts are about what you can do, the more they start becoming your reality, because you think you can and you will. It's stupid as it is. It's that story of the little engine that could, as long as you just keep telling yourself you can do it. And so think about change. First, you have to build an awareness of when that negative self-talk is happening, and then start switching that narrative in your head to something more empowering. And I know this sounds crazy and it's not the easiest thing to do, but you have to be cognizant that awareness is the first piece, and that will help you start to pivot it. So when you see that, stop yourself, turn that negative thought into a positive thought, and start developing that muscle and developing that skill. And that's what's going to help you start in this path to becoming more of a growth mindset person. Two, and this is kind of the next step on this journey, is changing your language, not your internal dialogue, but your external dialogue, how you talk about yourself, how you talk about other people. So it's how you present yourself in conversation. Oh, I'm so stupid. Sometimes I do the dumbest things. Or, I'm always like this. I'm always doing this. Oh, rolling your eyes about yourself and your incapability of doing it. No, don't, and another one, and this is one that just makes me crazy is, and I do it and I catch myself is I don't have time to do that. No, I have time to do a lot of things and I choose what I do with that time. And sometimes those aren't the greatest choices, but I, so I think it's this idea of saying, instead of I don't have time for this, I haven't chosen to make time for this, or I've made other choices about my time. That's realistic because there are options you're making through the day. Think about how many minutes of a day are taken up by Facebook scrolls, right? What else could I do with that time? So I haven't made time in my calendar to do this versus I don't have time to do this. And talk about positives and not negatives. So many times I think we focus in the negative things, the mistakes that we make or what we can't do, but what can we talk about that are the success stories and the things we're capable of doing and building up more talk about the positive instead of the negative, and start building a mindset that's about abundance and not fear. That's about what I can do and what I hope to do and how I'm going to get there and how I'm going to deal with those roadblocks. And just as a sidebar, that's where coaches can help you provide kind of a perspective. Sometimes it's hard for us to see ourselves for what we are. And we're so ingrained in some of these thought processes and making that changeover. Sometimes it's helpful with external intervention, or just get a friend to say, look, hold me accountable. Stop me from being so negative. Call me out when I'm being negative and saying things that aren't really true about myself. The next piece, and this is an interesting piece, is kind of this idea of determine the mindset you need and act as it. So if I like to think of it as like, okay, who do I need to be to achieve this goal? Who is a person I would think of that is successful in this area? And what do I think they think? How do I think they act? And start putting yourself into that frame of, all right, what would I be doing to act as if I'm a person who achieves their goals? How would I need to do this to act as if, a healthy and fit person? What would a healthy and fit person do or think right now? How can I act more like that? What would a person who doesn't get stopped by short-term problems and really focuses on the long term, how do they think? And start trying to creatively think about what those things are, or maybe even talk to someone, think about what their mindset is. But try and put yourself into that form and think about things the way they would think about things. And that will help you start building that change in your mindset. Another piece is just educate yourself. Start reading some books about mindset and about how you can grow. A great starting point is right here. Carol Dweck's mindset book. It's the Mindset Bible. Start with this book, read through it, go from here. It's a great place for you to start. Another thing to think about, and there's lots of different books you can find out about it, even biographies. And there's some great biographies you can read where people talk about their journey and their mindset and how they dealt with those challenges and struggles. Pick those up, fill yourself with that kind of information to start changing your mindset to, I am one who can achieve, not someone who's stuck and can't do any better. Another one is to change who you surround yourself with. I can think back, early in my career, and I'll probably get in trouble for saying this, sitting out kind of on the smoking porch. I didn't smoke, but a lot of my friends were the smokers. You know what happens out on the smoking porch? People complain, people bitch, they moan. And it's easy to get caught up in that swirl. When you're hanging out with negative people, they're going to make you negative. They're not going to make you positive. So think about the people that you're surrounding yourself with. Are these the people who are going to help you grow and develop the mindset of who you want to be? So, and if they're not, look at the people around you. There's a saying out there that you're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. The 5 people you spend the most time with are really negative and cynical and don't see the upside and positive of things. Find new friends, change your environment, change the world around that you want to have a mindset of possibility and future and growth. Next to last, number 6 is creating new habits to support your mindset change. So if you're trying to upgrade, it's a couple of different things you want to do is make sure you're spending time from learning. This isn't just going to come necessarily easily, or you're not going to have every answer. So go read some books, create a journal, catch yourself and write down the times you're catching yourself and when you're turning that negative into a positive. Schedule that time for learning, journal every day about where you did better, and do a journal about the things that you did that were successful. So you can refer back to that and you can see, I have a folder where I have like all the contents, the emails, letters I've gotten that were affirmations and positive things about. And when I'm feeling down about myself, I can go into those and say, gosh, this version I have of myself where it's feeling negative and not feeling positive is so opposed to what all these other people are telling me. So is this more of an internal thing or an external thing? And start asking yourself those questions. And the only way you're going to do it is to pay attention to it. So really start building a journal, focusing on the positive. And then the last piece is to get out of your comfort zone. Put yourself in a position that's going to that's going to force you to operate at a higher level. So create an environment around you that's going to force you to stretch yourself and see what you're really capable of doing. Enter into that 5K if you're not a runner. Enter into, a volunteer position that's something new for you to do that you're not sure that you can do, but if you really stretch and put yourself into opportunities in those positions where you can grow and you can stretch and find yourself and see yourself succeeding and throw yourself into those things. Ask for help where you need to, but give yourself the challenge. So it's really all about growing into that mindset to be the better version of yourself, positive version of yourself. And that will help you start to deal with all the roadblocks you're going to face in your business or in your executive career. We're always going to bump into problems. Problems don't go away. So you've got to jump in, you've got to move forward, and how you react to the problem is more important than the problem itself. If you see it as something that's ending, I can think of a friend who had a really challenging illness situation, and he just decided there was no way for him to grow and make money. So he actually made a really bad choice about the way he decided he would make money and ended up in jail. He was able to get out of that situation and found out with support and with help that there actually were great ways for him to earn that living outside of that. And it's changed his life. And he's made some distinct and positive changes in himself as well. So there's a lot of different things that you can do that will help you to stay. You don't want to go that far. Find those opportunities for a positive mindset. Find those opportunities to see the full potential in yourself and believe more in yourself and beat back that internal self-talk. Change the way you talk about yourself. Surround yourself with people who have that positive mindset that will help you drive forward. Pour yourself into those people that you want to be like and think about how they react and think about things. Learn, journal. These are the things that are going to help you become the person that you really aspire to be, become that leader you aspire to be, running the business or running the division of a company that you've always dreamed of. Would love to talk to you about it. Let's get on a call, talk through some of the challenges that you're facing. Thanks, guys. Appreciate you joining. Happy to answer any questions. For any of you who are catching this on replay, give me a #replay so I know you're out there. Thanks, everybody. Have a great week. Bye-bye.